future. Now, I'm going to give you a sneak peek at where we're going in the next 8 weeks. Because in Daniel's life, God did 5 things with the problems that he had to face. And they are the same 5 things that God wants to do in your life, regardless of what kind of problems you're going through. So you might write these down. It's kind of an index to Daniel's life. So number 1, times God shakes things up. I'm talking about in your life. Sometimes God shakes things up in my life to inspect me. To inspect me. And what I mean by that is God will bring a problem in my life that reveals a motivation that's out of whack, or a character, or a thought, or an emotion, or a motive. He examines and he checks it out. He does it all the time. When somebody said, the people are like T-Regs. You don't know what's in them till you drop them in hot water. You're listening to Pastor Rick's Daily Hope. We'll be back in just a moment with the rest of today's lesson. You can sign up for Pastor Rick's free email devotional, or if you missed any part of today's teaching, you can listen anytime at PastorRick.com. That's PastorRick.com.
As we look at the unprecedented things going on in our world today, it's clear that we need to be equipped with the resources to handle whatever life throws at us. That's why Pastor Rick has asked his team to make available to you a DVD study kit called Unshakable, which is based on the life of Daniel. In these 8 powerful video lessons, Rick teaches you how to handle life's most unexpected circumstances and extreme pressures, how to avoid compromising on what you believe is right in God's eyes, how to handle success, how to learn from your mistakes, and how to pray the kind of prayers that God answers. To get your copy of the Unshakable DVD study kit, go to PastorRick.com or call 800-600-5004. That's PastorRick.com or call 800-600-5004.
This is Pastor Rick's Daily Hope, the audio broadcast ministry of Pastor Rick Warren. Once again, here's Rick. Somebody said, the people are like T-Regs. You don't know what's in them till you drop them in hot water. And God will use problems to inspect you and show you what's wrong, what's out of whack in your life. You got a fear, you got a wrong motivation, you got a value, you got a misperception. There's some lie that you're believing. God uses problems to inspect you. Now, of course, God already knows what's going on in you. He doesn't need any problem to tell him what he knows you better than you do. When God allows a problem in your life, it's because he wants you to know what's out of whack. And sometimes when things are just flying off the wall and you're in a crisis and you're just your whole world is shaken, God is saying, I want you to see what I want you to work on in your life. We're going to inspect this in your life. I remember in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve sinned, and then the Bible says one day God comes walking through the Garden of Eden, metaphorically, and says, Adam, where are you? Now, let me let you in on this. Anytime God asks you a question, Egypt to Israel. Because the Bible says that while they were in the desert, God kept testing them to show them that their faith was insufficient, that they weren't ready to go into the promised land. And the Bible says over those 40 years, God gave them 7 tests. 7. And every time they failed, God would say, okay, another lap around the desert. And some of them died in the desert. They spent their entire lives there. They didn't pass the test. Deuteronomy in the Bible, chapter 8, verse 2 says this: God led you all the way in the desert these 40 years to humble you and to test you in order to know, you would know, what was in your heart, whether or not you keep his commandments. And by the way, when God takes you through a desert, he's doing it for the same reason. When you're in the wilderness of life, what is the desert or the wilderness of life? It's when you can't feel God at all. It's when you're in that dry period of your life. You don't have any emotion. You don't feel close to God. And God's just going to go, I'm going to take away your emotion, see if you're trusting in me or you're trusting in your emotion. You're not living by faith until you don't have any feelings. And so sometimes God will take away all your feelings and just go, will you do the right thing even though you don't feel it? Because it's the right thing to do. This is a test. This is a test. Will you trust me? God is testing you. You see, what matters in your maturity spiritually is not how high you jump when you feel God in a worship concert. The test is how straight you walk when you don't feel God during the rest of the week. And I mean, I have no emotion. I'm in the desert. I'm in a dry period. I'm in the wilderness. Will you trust me? Will you obey me? See, what God is saying is that the problems that come into your life, they're a measuring tool. And your reactions to difficulty actually measure your faith. And a bunch of stuff. Your reactions to difficulty measure your faith, measure your commitment, measure your maturity, they measure your integrity. The Bible often compares problems to a refining fire. You know how they get the impurities out of gold and silver? They put it in a vat and they heat it all up and it burns off the impurities. When you're going through the fire and when you're suffering, God is burning off the impurities in your life. In life, God is testing you. And what's he testing? Well, he's saying, do you really believe what you claim to believe? You say, well, God is first in my life. But when the heat's on, is he sidelined? When it's inconvenient and unpopular? You say, I have integrity, but are you willing to lower your standards because you want to be popular and approved by the people at work? And you say, I'm totally committed to you, God, but when the pressure's on, you give up and walk away. So I want you to write down a question. I'm going to give you a question in each of these. Here's the question to ask about when God uses problems to inspect me. What does this problem reveal about me? When your whole life is being shaken and everything, you're on shaky ground, the foundation is unstable. What does this problem reveal about me? God is inspecting you. Number 2, here's another reason. Sometimes God shakes things up in your life, not to inspect you, but to correct you. God wants to correct me. Now, this is exactly what happened in the nation of Israel 2,500 years ago. So I told you they'd fallen into deep idolatry, and God says, I'm going to cure you of that addiction. We're just going to get rid of those. There's only one true God, and I don't want you messing around with other gods anymore. And when God allowed them to be hauled off into a foreign country for 70 years, 25% of the nation. When they came back 70 years later, they were cured. I mean, Israel never again reverted to idolatry. In fact, later on I'll give you the 7 things that changed in the nation of Israel after being in that period of captivity for 70 years. And they were all good things. And here's a very important verse, Hebrews chapter 12, verses 8 to 11. God corrects all of his children. And if he doesn't correct you, then you don't really belong to him. Whoa. So if you can sin and get away with it, you should doubt, am I really in God's family? God corrects his children. And if he doesn't correct you, then you don't really belong to him. God corrects us for our own good because he wants us to be holy as he is. Now, it's never fun to be corrected. How many of you agree with that part of the Bible? Yeah, it's never fun to be corrected. In fact, at the time, it's always painful. But if we learn to obey by being corrected, we will do right and live at peace. Ultimately, it's for your good, so you can live at peace. I mean, did you benefit from correction growing up? Of course you did. It's how you learn to walk, talk, eat, bathe, read, write, and everything else you learn. You learn because somebody cared enough to correct you. A parent that doesn't correct their children doesn't love their children. And if they don't correct them, they don't love. Correction is proof that I'm part of God's families. Now, how many of you who have been parents would rather not correct your children? Me. Okay, I'd rather not. It's no fun. It's not only not fun for the kids, it's not fun for the parents. Okay, if you like to correct, you've got a masochistic problem, friend. Okay, how many of you